gentleman had a lot of votes.
There's a lot of fuck Nino votes. Keep that in mind.
That's probably true as well.
Yeah.
Hardy's also a bit of a night owl. He hits a whole different audience than
I
you do.
see. Okay.
Mm.
I wasn't aware of that. Okay, that might explain it.
So Michael, do you want to do the honors? Summarize the penal code, or actually, let's wait for Peters so he hears it as well.
Yeah.
You must have some low blood sugar for it to be such a rush to make a damn sandwich. Apologize for that.
Oh, it's all good.
That was a good outcome for Blaine County, right? You've had some contact with her.
I think so. Yeah, I genuinely believe so. Yeah, I think what do you call it? I'm gonna be honest. I pushed Mahdi for about a day as my recommendation. I never outright was like. So very early on, like I didn't want to outright, pick somebody, because I do believe that kind of goes against like the spirit of what these elections are about. But I think for about a day, I kind of pushed in this direction and immediately sort of began to regret it because I think Princess Elena has kind of broken into her own, so to speak, and working alongside her the last like 3 weeks or so. I think she has a very rare trait, which is actually caring about the job. I think a lot of people are going to want to be the mayor, but very few are going to be able to handle what actually comes with it. And I think she's one of those. So,
okay, that's good. All right.
I thought their numbers were going to be a lot close. I mean, it was actually pretty close. Looking at their numbers, Marty only lost by a little. Marty threw. I'm going to be honest.
What was that?
He was barely around. He was going off of just the name. You know what I mean?
That'll work sometimes, but I think it's important to be around when in positions like that.
Yeah,
I think people realize that as well.
Because the thing is, like, he lost by 50 votes. 50 votes you can garner in a day.
Easily, yeah.
Yeah. Like, keep in mind, like, we didn't, like, I don't even, like, this was the least we've campaigned this term. I mean, I fucking took 2 days off. Did you do a lot, Michael?
Yeah, not as much as the previous terms.
Yeah. So.
Did shuttles one day, put up some signs, but that's about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I think besides yourself, who spoke at a couple of the meetings, I don't think anyone came and asked permission to campaign or anything. It was quite surprising. We're not the entire population, but we are a good number of the voting force, and I would expect the mayor to come in
1,000%.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah.
Just speaking,
it's an easy gathering of people.
Speaking to someone alone is the difference between a vote and a non-vote.
Yeah.
Well, and you know how it is, right? You talk deeply with one person, they'll go and tell 10 people about it. So face-to-face conversation goes a long way.
Absolutely. Let me try to hurry Peter up here a little bit.
Come on, Peters, man. We got shit to do.
Go
ahead.
What you said in the meeting room. Separated certs. What was that about?
Oh, it's stirring.
Fair enough.
Okay. Right. We're gonna go over some of the penal code changes. It's gonna be pretty massive. Myself and Michael spent I don't know, couple hours on it.
At least.
And here are the findings. Michael.
So yeah, as Nino said, we looked at the penal code for more than a couple hours. I was looking at it for 4 or 5 days, and we sat down and went through it yesterday in totality. And based on our interpretation of the documentation, there was just no meaningful or uniform methodology that was used to make the changes. It was very much driven by, I think this should be higher, or I think this should have more points. I'm going to cite some examples. The first one is going to be the change to the scope of the misdemeanor and felony possession of thermal fuses, which was expanded to include thermal devices. It was changed from 4 to 5, I believe, and they have multiple practical uses, right? Thermal fuses exist in things like appliances, and it was just arbitrarily decided that possessing these was illegal. The problem with it is that no procedure was followed. It was just decided by someone, right? The same goes for the criminal use of an EMP launcher. It was just put forward by a member of an agency that we need a charge for criminal use of an EMP launcher, and 3 hours later, that charge was added to the draft penal code. There are examples like manslaughter, where we saw a modest increase of about 20%, but its fine jumps from 15,000 to 75,000. It's a 400% increase. And it's identical in the percentage to much lower severity charges that we saw, like unlawful imprisonment or reckless endangerment, both of which started at only $500. So another one being attempted murder of a government employee, increased by 67%, but a 140% increase in fine, despite being arguably more severe than some of the other increases. There was attempted first-degree murder and attempted murder of a government employee, which are both attempted murder.
Oh, that one's going to be bad for y'all.
They both increased in time and fine, but it was entirely disproportionate, and they don't really... When we looked at the increases in the amounts, they were just inconsistent. This one's good. There was the charge of operating a cabinless vehicle without proper protection. It was removed without consulting anyone, even the SAMA director. We had misdemeanor hit and run and felony hit and run. The points were increased from 3 to 9, and then felony hit and run is 20 points, which is effectively immediate loss of license. And these examples go on and on and on.
The underlining thing here is that probably 5% of the charges that were updated had requests followed by changes. Yeah. So there was no discussion. It was just, hey, I feel this, and then it changed. The remainder, 90 to 95%, simply changed. There is no methodology. The closest to methodology we got is that the base level fine should start at $1,000, but that in turn creates a ripple effect, right? If you raise let's say, speeding in the third degree from 300 to 1,000, well, then that ripples to every other charge, right? Because it needs to proportionally go up. However, we haven't found there to be proportionality, and it's unreasonable for us to, in other words, debug what the fuck they were doing in order to arrive to these conclusions. Some of these points that were made may be reasonable. Say, for example, the should thermite be illegal? That's a good discussion point, right? But an assertion of, hey, it should be, turning into illegality is not it. At the end of it, the recommendation we're going to be putting forward is that the entire set of changes dating all the way back to February 6th, minus those that may have been enacted with new legislation, should be rolled back. So That's the whole gamut of things. However, we're not going to leave it there. We're not going to be like these other entities. We are going to be putting forward a series of recommended steps to move forward, starting with the creation of what we're referring to as bills, which is like legislative proposals that we have today, except they're shorter and more targeted. So instead of writing like a 2-page document, you could write a bill that says EMP launchers are now illegal, and then under it say the weapon legislation will be updated to include that in the scheduling. The discussion about and then the handful of pieces of legislation, of which there's numerous amounts, we're at 100 now, are going to be reduced into a handful of common criminal codes. Idea being to make this system a lot easier for updating and for tracking the who, what, where, why. So, all right.
Okay, so how is it actually going to play out? Is it going to be similar to legislation? We write something up. We want to make, let's just, as an example, make EMP guns illegal.
Mm-hmm.
We submit that to you, or where does that go?
Ideally, someone in the department should be writing it up. I think the PD is long overdue, both departments, for learning how to write legislation and then submitting it to us. Anyone can do it. It's very straightforward. It's also good training for y'all, because if you understand why something is derived and how it's done, it's, you have internal knowledge. So, yeah, you would submit it to us. We would review it. If there needs to be a discussion, one can be had, and then we put it forward.
Right. So, but what does that document exactly look like? You're saying it's similar to legislation, but it needs to reflect legislation as well.
So let me give you an example of why we're going to be pushing for this avenue. Is every new piece of legislation must have a constitutional justification, right? As an example, a EMP gun constitutional justification would be like right to health, public safety, right? In the purpose, you can be like, EMP guns have, can hurt people, blah, 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 blah. And, we are finding that it can be, its primary usage is to kill folks. I'm only using EMP as an example. There's a bigger debate around that. That charge shouldn't even exist the way it does. It's fucking idiotic.
Right. Purely using EMP as an example here.
Mm-hmm. And then you got to put all the blah, blah in there, right? Like pretty much your entire argument as to why it needs to be illegal. The bill is where you're going to be doing that now, right? So like when you open up the legislation tab, you see all these pieces of legislation, right? How is anyone reasonably going to, even lawyers, justices don't even know this stuff, to use that as a metric. The highest court does not even know all this shit exists. So if they don't, then how do we expect law enforcement and people to? If you open up any one of these, like fucking, just click any random one. It's extremely detailed, right? That's, let's take search and seizure as an example, right? If you open that up, this is illegible. Like if I ask you right now, Turner, like, can you raid a property without the person in custody? You're going to have to read this entire document. You're going to need to know to look up this document. Right. And this is just packed full of useless shit. So most of this useless shit is going to go into a bill. When I say useless, it's not useless. It's just background information as to how you legally derive these conclusions. Instead, this document's going to be the actual legislation. Like, this would be the bill, and the actual legislation is going to be the meat and potatoes. So,
I guess I'll have to see this in action here. How it's going to where a bill is going to be recorded.
We're going to aim for it to be another tab. So either a drop down
I see.
or next to legislation will be bills. So
Okay,
bills
all right,
will
that makes sense then.
reference legislation and so on and so forth. So your like actual legislative documents, the goal will be for there to be like a maximum of like say 30, right? Maybe one for robberies, one's for weapons, one for traffic, one for city ordinances. And the bills are going to be numerous but separated out. So as an example, if you wanted to make EMP launchers illegal today, the actual weapon legislation would end up increasing in size by like 30%, just because you have to fit in all that EMP stuff. Now you would just do an EMP bill, and the weapon legislation would just have EMP launcher inserted in under like class 2 category as an
The
example.
justification being noted next to it. Then you go to
No,
that bill.
it wouldn't have a justification. That justification will be in the referenced bill. So it's like EMP launcher is now like, let's say there's a section that says class 2 and it'll say like, AK-47s and rifles, and then another bullet point, EMP launcher, and then in brackets it'll say like B1568. Right?
That's exactly what I meant. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, that sounds good. That's something. I mean, it streamline it, make it much clearer.
Yes.
I think that's something we've talked about quite a bit.
Yeah.
Is getting things streamlined.
So the
Black
things
and white,
people
yes or no.
exactly. The things that are black and white, this is illegal. This is what it is, right? These are the schedules for what isn't and what isn't. So you know exactly what is legal, not legal, what are the barriers, but then the actual derivation and the legal background will be referenced. So,
All right.
which quite frankly, that only a handful of people even really care about. All right.
Right.
Michael,
That's a good change. Yeah.
tell them about second degree murder. How it's
no.
completely fucked now. This is going to
So-
greatly affect you guys when it comes to this.
The second degree murder charge was redefined as such. The unlawful killing of another human, either intentionally within the heat of passion, with the intent to cause bodily harm, or with callous disregard for human life. That number one, the language alone is just bad, plainly.
Start
Number
with
two,
what
though.
the original definition was.
Let me pull it up.
So this original definition is the definition used by, it's closer to what most Western countries reference it as. And there's going to be
second degree. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was originally the act of unlawfully killing that doesn't involve malice, afterthought, intent to seriously harm or kill, or extreme reckless disregard for life, heat of passion, callous disregard for human life.
Why do they have to get changed? That sounded fine to me.
Yeah. And now
Yeah.
now listen to this updated one and the keywords that have been removed.
The unlawful killing of another human, either intentionally within the heat of passion, with the intent to cause serious bodily harm, or with callous disregard for human life.
Was this in the most recent changes?
Yep.
It was.
And there are many more like this that we discovered. Hence the rollback. It wasn't just fines and times. It wasn't just new things added. Literal entire charges were reworded.
Yeah.
Things were added into the definition, so indirectly making things illegal, like thermite, right? And the veracity of the charges were changed, such as, felony hit and run. And to give perspective to that, before you ran someone over, didn't realize, right? You're going to get pulled over. Cops probably going to yell at you. Maybe you go to jail. Now you like something that even cops probably do by accident. You lose your fucking driver's license.
20 points.
Interesting.
Yeah. So
this rollback you're talking about is a complete rollback of all the changes, and then you're going to go back and adjust what needs to be, or
of
what's that
the
process
things
gonna look like?
of the things that are relevant, Of the things that we don't think are high priority, we're gonna say, for those who ask for this shit, do your job, right? And that goes to that's directed mostly at the individuals who made this these changes to begin with. So
Right, but what are we looking at in terms of changing? You're saying a rollback.
Mhm.
So we're rolling it back to prior to that
Feb 9.
document, essentially.
correct.
Okay.
Except for the things that were added legally, right? So the common law charges, the charges that came into Blaine County, I think like 2 weeks ago that Princess had legislation for.
Sam, I had a couple too, I think.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's going to include the FIB documents, by the way,
Oh, okay.
which is good,
We're-
given
We're definitely gonna need a
New
change
findings.
log, so we can, readdress this with everyone so they're aware.
Yeah, I'm sure DOJ can provide you guys with one, something along those lines. I think actually one thing that I am going to seek out, because I think I know how they make these alterations, there should be a way to get a IT nerd, if we are given the document for an IT nerd to give a legible change log based on the file used to generate the MDT buttons.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that works too.
Okay, cool. All right.
I
Okay.
do want to say this, Turner. If it's not abundantly clear already, and I think it is, but I'm going to say it. Even the pre-Feb 9th version of the penal code had a lot of issues with it too. So it's really not just, roll it back and call it a day. There is a lot of work that needs to go into that penal code to make it better for everyone, and PD included. The penal code, I think, did a lot to limit investigations in many ways. And that's something that needs to be taken into consideration. You can't just approach a penal code of the mindset of deterrence and prevention. You need to consider a lot more variables than just that.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. As an example, right? Thermite magically became illegal, right? Thermite as a product being illegal is quite backwards. I think we can all be in agreement here that most of our knowledge of thermite is that it is used to break into banks, right? But I want to provide a working example. You pull over Future Hendrix, right? He's got 20 thermite in the car, right? And he's joyriding. Okay, Future Hendrix is probably the worst example. Let's use someone a little bit more middle of the road. Did you guys have a name? Like, who's a middle of the road? Might pull over, might not pull over.
I think they're all pretty extreme. Either not or they're extreme. Let's just say Alfonso Sebastian.
That's great. Great. So Alfonso
Let's
Sebastian.
pick Alfonso Sebastian.
Okay, thank you. Alfonso Sebastian pulled over stolen vehicle, right? That is a stolen car. What is it, like 10 months? Barely, not a huge charge, right? In the back of his trunk is 20 thermite. That individual, based on the value of that thermite, based on the additional charges that are going to hit, he's more likely to drive off than otherwise. Why is that thermite illegal? The argument right now, based on the changes that are just, once again, I say magically because there is no justification, they're illegal. Why? And what I'm sort of alluding to here is the philosophy we're aiming here is that if things are just illegal because they have the propensity to be used for crime, we're creating a criminal code that encourages people to get away because not giving yourself up, not taking the lesser charge is not economically reasonable. right? And that things like someone having thermite in the trunk or a thing of bolt cutters or whatever doesn't mean you're gonna rob anything. And we're gonna be starting to address bringing things back to more of a reasonable perspective. That just because it's a jump boot doesn't mean you're gonna go commit crime in it. Just because people should be able to open a thermite store. Why the fuck not? It's fucking construction material, right? And that just having these sort of possessions, it may be enough to open up an investigation. If you find, Alfonso Sebastian, even let's say his car is legal, right? And someone checks the trunk or his trunk is open or you witness someone do an exchange of thermite, doesn't mean he's going to rob a bank, right? Or like if someone's got a pair of lockpicks, is the lockpick illegal because you can only use it to break into cars allegedly, right? It's that entire, that's the lens by which we're going to be sort of looking at this stuff.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I would expect someone who's caught in commission of a robbery, like a bank or something involving thermite, to then have their thermite seized.
Exactly.
Charged for it, or maybe are you talking about essentially removing the charge completely and
Correct.
not looking into its applications?
Oh, you can look into it. So the scenario would be like, let's say you find Alfonso Sebastian with bolt cutters, thermite charges, thermite in the back. I don't know what else. A pair of jump boots, right? All in his trunk, right? And he just lets a cop look at it. Number one, it shouldn't be seized. Number two, he's doing nothing illegal. Should it raise your eyebrows? Should you make a an investigative report on it? Absolutely. You now know that this guy might. I mean, you could think like, hey, maybe he's gonna go fucking rob a bank. If you see him in the same clothes again, but a mask, you got investigative information that can be utilized. You have a reason to maybe tail him, right? But that alone should not result in the seizure and the arrest. Now, if let's say now you find completely separately, you arrest Alfonso Sebastian over at Maze Bank, and he has thermite, and he has bolt cutters, and he's got a radio. You seize it all as contraband because it was used in the commission of the crime, right? And so to loop all this together, there will, like, as a part of this robbery legislation and the penal code change that we're going to be pushing forward is there'll be a charge for, like an update to a contraband charge. And I'll say any contraband used in the commission of a crime, 50, whatever the fine and time is, right? And then in the legislation, there'll be an enumerated list of things that if found in a commission of the crime will be seized.
And it's going to be a charge.
Yes.
Okay.
We could wrap it under the umbrella too. You know what I mean? As an alternative.
I'm assuming that's something you're going to look at as well. The umbrella charge.
That correct. Yes.
Okay.
Do you kind of see the comprehensive nature of how this is gonna work?
I think my stance on a lot of this. We don't make the laws, however, we do enforce them. So whatever's put forward to us, we will enforce. Right. What would be nice is black and white when it comes to these charges. So when we can and can't charge them, when it comes to some of these possession charges or situational charges that we've talked about in the past. Hopefully this will clear a lot of things up for everyone, not just us, but also for people getting charged, frankly.
Yeah. I think that's really the intent behind the criminal code. They are very to the point and very black and white. And I agree with you, Turner. I think that's very much needed.
Yeah. Exactly.
Good deal.
Okay. All right, easy. We're probably going to be putting this up on the docket tomorrow. The entire thing. Me and Michael got to cook on that right now. Is there anything, at least in the short term, that you have questions for us in regards to?
Yes. More so, I guess, in the meeting you spoke about. I know you said stirring about the separate search. What about vehicles? You said you're going to get officers' vehicles. What do you mean by that?
I was literally just stirring.
That was stirring. Okay. That was
Yeah.
more stirring. Okay.
All
right.
But
I'll make sure so if these questions do come up.
I am very open to the idea. So I'm just say straight up, y'all need to be able to determine your own future. I think that is healthy for you. If you guys decide against it, you know, that's still within your prerogative. But my personal preference from the very start is if Blaine County disappears tomorrow, you should be able to function. And I'm not a huge fan of what happened with TRT. I think that was absolutely the individuals who decided to just wake up one day and fire everybody should not be in no leadership position. I think it's disgusting. I think it's very telling of their ineptitude. I think in the very same vein, it is important, just as there is a determination by people that live in Blaine County to have a certain way of living, right? They like to be away from the rest of society. That's what a lot of Paleto people say. Chaos Legion and the people that live in Sandy have a certain way of living, right? Blaine County, they got their vibes bullshit going on. More power to it. Y'all need that as well, right? And not be in a environment where you're subjugated by someone else's VIMs. You know,
I absolutely believe that if Blaine County, at a snap of a finger, was gone, we'd be fully operational, without a doubt. So
okay, that's good.
Fair enough.
Sorry. To that end, if your pursuit team, if it is operating as its own thing, we are more than willing to, help fund that. Now keep in mind, I don't know what I see and is going to be from a different lens from what you see. You see what's actually happening. I see what's on the outside. So I would need your,
fair enough. You're
yeah.
You're saying if we separated certs, so you are in support of separating certs.
Always have been. Yeah. I think it just makes sense, right?
You know who else was a fan of that?
Who's that? Moss?
I gotta take this car. I'll be right back.
How do you say that and then walk away on a phone call?
He's usually only in about 10%. Yeah, I think.
That's true.
Yeah.
Raiders.
Did you say Raiders?
No, I said Peters.
Oh, Peters. Yeah.
You're in the middle of a damn conversation. Put the phone down.
What'd you say,
what were you saying?
That I was in favor. I mean, the whole thing. I don't know. That's
say it with your chest, pussy.
I think Moss did the best job she knew how, and I tried to put my foot down in certain situations. And I think she was trying to operate in good faith, but with Blaine County being what Blaine County is, they're like children where they just want to. It's like if children ran a school, right? They want to do the things that would benefit them, and if it fucks everyone else, they don't really give a fuck. And there's no repercussions or anything that they have to put up with. And I tried to compromise by us having split certs because we needed to have representation. I mean, the motor unit, Bones was running that, which ultimately, I mean, we're still in the fucking same shit show. We're dealing with kind of like the fallout from that, where BCSO always gets taken care of first. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm a big fan of just fucking splitting everything. And that way, it's hard. It's hard because obviously there's backups on things, but ultimately we are two separate departments, and we should both have our own identities and both be working on different things. And then if we need to, we can collaborate on other shit together. But what ends up happening is it's also like being in an abusive relationship where they just keep taking and not giving. There, I said it with my chest, Nino.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we need to push back on things then if all they're doing is taking.
Well, it's like for example,
what are they taking?
Well, right now, like they just did mass promotions. Like what the fuck? Like our command structure is getting
You're talking about
bloated.
BCSO.
Yeah, and BCSO. Like
I mean,
like
that's them. We're talking about certs here. They could do whatever they want. They could have 18 assistant sheriffs, or whatever they want. Frankly, that's up to them, right?
Yeah, I guess I was giving more so of an example. It's like, I think originally we kind of agreed to keep ranks equal across the board so we didn't run into command bloat. And it's, I mean, that's out the window now. It's just like, all right, fuck it. I'm going to do what I want. But yeah, I mean, the cert thing, if you want to go over the cert thing, the mellow being over TRT, my issue is now like people like Jack Voss who are on duty every single fucking day, like, won't get, like, I think it's Ventura. Like Ventura's running the cert for the cargo fast unit. Like he's not, I know they've butt heads in the past, so he's just been like a kitten for the last 6 months. There's
we have equal counterparts in our department. It's not that he runs it or one of them runs it. We have equal counterparts to the cert unit.
They still have,
so they should be going to them.
No, not necessarily. I mean, who's the lead in our department for it?
Bradford.
So he's the equal lead. He's got more. He's got just as much.
When it comes
say
to the
as,
cert unit, he is an absolute equal to Ventura. Yes.
I don't think that's true. I mean, that on paper maybe that's the thing, but I'm pretty sure Ventura's going to
reinforce that to Bradford. And if Ventura has an issue with it, he can bring it to me or you. When it comes to pursuit unit, they are equals.
May I ask a question? How many LSPD pursuit officers are there?
I would have to get you the numbers for that.
I'd
Give me a moment.
curious.
I get that for you.
Absolutely. I'd
I'll
be
count them
curious
all
what
for
the
you. Hang on.
differentiation is.
It looks like we have 19.
How many are full? How many are full though, and not kittens?
Well, even before then, there's 19 LSPD. Is that what I heard?
19, yes.
And how many BCSO?
Let's see here. $23.
So yeah. This is just me, right? The city is 3 times as big. I think you guys should, in general, have more numbers. In fact, we're going to be passing legislation to get you guys even better tickets. You should be able to get on the train faster than Blaine County on a 3-to-1 ratio.
I already do.
Well, here's the thing, though. We need the city able to, we need our city cops in, right? You guys don't need a 1-to-1 ratio. That's Blaine County. This is the city. City police is naturally going to be bigger, right? So I know you've been having issues with cop numbers lately because, there's too many of you on duty, so that should help with that.
That actually, that is something we've had way too many officers on duty. I think there needs to be a hard 40 cap.
Yeah.
But then how do you?
You're talking across departments then.
I think we should have no more than 40 units on duty at a time across both departments. It's counterproductive. In my opinion, that's my opinion, but that's I don't know if that's necessarily a conversation.
I don't think it's counterproductive. We just need better management of units when it comes to situations, which is what we need to put on our command staff.
Oh my God. Yeah.
There's always something going on.
I feel like maybe when you get on the train, you stamp LSPD or BCSO, and sometimes the BCSO train just leaves, or breaks down.
They don't even have a train up there.
That is true.
They only got buses.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
They need a train up there.
Oh man. Okay. Anything else we want to discuss?
Yeah, bank truck charge.
I don't believe I have anything else for you here. Let me see. Check my notes.
I guess since you talked about us doing legislation, we could put together some legislation on that.
On what?
Like mass, not necessarily bank truck charge, but like mass murder of LEO or some a mass attempted murder of an LEO.
You're actually wait. Did we talk about this? Because that's what we're doing.
Yeah, you and I talked about it.
I didn't hear about this.
So one thing that we've been floating, it was actually brought to me by law enforcement, but we had already been contemplating this. Is we are not. No, I want to be very clear here. This is not going to happen until we have a much more deeper conversation. But there should be a charge for, we're calling it the PD wipe charge, where I don't think it's going to be called PD wipe because otherwise people are going to start collecting
that's something we joked about it. Like how many PD wipes do you have?
That. Yeah, please.
Yeah, maybe the maybe like I'm a pussy. Maybe something like that. Something you don't want.
No, people would still be proud of that. People would be proud of that. How many pussy
people-
charges you got?
Oh yeah, how much pussy you got? Yeah.
How much pussy you got?
Well, whatever it is, after a certain amount of officers are down, there's going to be a flat charge for it. What that number is, if the idea even is reasonable, is something we want to open up for discussion. But
Fair enough. That's make things a bit simpler. Yeah.
Yeah, Chief. See, I work behind the scenes when you're not around.
Never said you didn't.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just need some validation there. Nino's been he's been pre-crying to me all day, and now he's yelling at me and stuff. And I just needed some affirmations here.
oh, who? Wait, you talking about me?
No, different Nino.
Oh, the fuck am I? About what? You've been talking about cars all day. You're like, oh my god, these cars, they're not driving good. My
He's doing it
CVPI.
again.
I need
He's
my
doing it again.
Premiere. I need my. What was it? What was the vehicle? What was the engine you told me about? Like,
JC60.
yeah, there you go.
I don't think I have anything else on my notes here, bro. Nino, I appreciate it.
Okay. Hell yeah. All right. Easy.
Anything you want to bring up, Peters?
No, it was just that. I think like a 12. I'm sure you guys will cook something up.
Which
If
is
you,
what?
if you need for the
the cop, the mass killing one.
Yeah, the mass killing one. So I mean, like if you needed us to, we could probably get somebody to draft that. I know you just actually brought that up.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I mean,
all
one
right.
way or another, we're gonna have to review it for language and probably have conversations on this. So, to me personally, as the guy who typically writes the stuff, it doesn't really matter if you put it forward. If you guys want to, I think that's great. Then I have your context right away, and
Okay.
we can build from that.
Yeah, I could maybe I'll get with someone today and get that done. Actually, I'm gonna put that on my list.
Yeah, Bailey. Bailey can help you out with it.
I'm reducing fines by 50%. Until the penal code charges are resolved. This is a short-term remedy.
All right.
Yep.
Fair enough.
All right, easy. All right.
So it will be a constant 50% off until the penal code changes are reverted.
Assume that to be the case. I need to dive a little bit deeper with my cabinet to see if it's going to be, what exactly we plan. But I'm sort of landing on we stick at 50% for the time being. And this, I think, is a much better approach because we don't want to open that Pandora's box of some of these charges technically were illegally entered, and therefore anybody that had those charges pressed on them, it was inaccurate by. If you went to jail for $300,000 because of fines changing illegally, as cited by the state officials, then technically you are owed reimbursement by the state. So hopefully this is going to quell some of that, because I don't think anyone wants to go down that headache.
Absolutely.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, easy. All
Is
right.
it true you're getting fired?
You should say maybe.
Not before you.
I'm going to assume that's Bobby.
No, actually,
Oh. All right.
another officer.
Okay. If you hear anything about chief elections, it wasn't from me.
Fair enough. And Nino, if there is someone you think that could do a better job, I will absolutely help with the transition.
I'm
Just
no
wanted to be
hell
known.
fucking no. Hell no. I don't think you understand the pain I went through the first 3 terms.
Fair enough.
Actually, you do a little bit. I take that back. All right. Easy.
Fair enough.
Okay.
I appreciate it, Nino.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Take care, gentlemen.
You all take care now.
Let's go reduce the fines while it's fresh on my mind.
I only got like 10 minutes here. I gotta really think about Turkey.
Do you have a vehicle? Let's run.